all-wise and eternal God, our Heavenly Father, we come to say thank you for this beautiful day which you have made. We thank you for the lives that are represented here, that represent our community, that represent the outreach of our community. Now, God, I pray that everything will be done in decency and in order. Let your will be done, Father God, and let us get answers tonight. Let us ask questions tonight. Let us not be afraid to let the commissioner know how we feel, and most of all, to respect him in his office. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you all so very much for being here. As we know, the last time we met up like this about this deal, we gathered some initial thoughts about what it is that we wanted as a community to see in this benefits agreement, if you will. And so what I would like to do is just have a recap of that meeting that we had on April 6th in 2015. So there are a lot of things that I said, I won't go over that, but most importantly, I want to get to what our citizens' concerns and suggestions were as it is written. And I'll read you some of the comments. Mr. Ario, well, he showed his appreciation for a number of different things about the different contracts that are going on right now in the CRA, but particularly Mr. McKnight says that jobs should not be the goal. I think he's right. He said that there should be a focus on creating more local businesses because this gives members of our community more control over the hiring processes, and that TIF should be used to create more businesses within our community. Mr. Seth said that the city should put up money because the city should put up money, but it should not come from the CRA. The CRA should create a plan to bring economic benefit to our community and create parking garages and bicycle rental programs. Ms. Campbell wanted more transit housing. Mr. Reverend Willie Williams wants to invest in the Overtown residents, especially educating our youth. Ms. Denise of the Leap of Faith Center feels that there is no incentive for residents to participate in these meetings. She said that she did not feel that anything will come from residents' participation. That was her feeling. Ms. Slater said that she wants to see 3rd Avenue and 17th Street as it once was, and that the rail systems were part of the Overtown community before, and it should be brought back. But of course, housing needs to get at the forefront of the CRA's priorities and not travel. I believe Seymour, and I cannot remember if, I think it's a woman, Miss Myrna Seymour, she said, put the money intended for travel back into the community, fix the streets, improve the lighting system. Dr. Christian wanted to enhance the community and preserve its history. Bishop Adams wanted the Overtown Advisory Board to vet all projects, which is what it does today. And the community should be more involved in negotiations. And he wanted free Wi-Fi for the area. And Jean Baptiste wants to know the percentage that the community will be contributing to this project. And he wants to pour money into youth by funding for youth programs. And Agnes Morton wanted to improve the communication between the community and the CRA. So these are some of the notes that we had from our last meeting. And from this, what I did was, and I'm sure everyone got a copy of this, we sent it out by email so you had a chance to review it before you came in for about 2 weeks, I think. And so from those suggestions that we gathered, we came up with these suggestions that we have before us. And these are the concessions that I requested from the City of Miami, Miami-Dade County, Tri-Rail, and all aboard Florida. So to start from the beginning, the Miami-Dade County City of Miami, we would like the extension of the life of the CRA until 2042. Currently it ends in 2030, I believe 2030, 2031. We wanted to maintain the current membership of the CRA board, 50% reduction in the sharing of the 2009 Global TIF Agreement at the conclusion of the CRA's life in 2031, redevelopment of the public housing developments within the CRA boundaries, free Wi-Fi for all residents who reside in public housing developments within the CRA boundaries, and improved historic Overtown signage, including but not limited to the Liberty Theater directional signage. Let's talk about this for a moment. There are some things that we've seen some promise in from at the county level, which I think will be mirrored into the city, but everything is not finished when it comes to those negotiations. We haven't come to a conclusion. So for instance, the extension of the life of the CRA to 2042. The inherent benefit there is that we extend the life of the CRA. It gives us an opportunity in the redevelopment area to capture more dollars to spend within the redevelopment area for the creation of affordable housing, the redevelopment of housing, the creation of new businesses, improvements of the streetscaping, and just creating more projects to improve this area as it was intended. It gives us more time to do it. Currently, we have about 14 years left in the life of the CRA. So attaching additional years to it is inherently a benefit. It seems to be that the county level there's a desire to extend the life of it. But the caveat is that they want to make some changes to the board as it exists. And some things that, as a chairman of that board, I don't think are smart. And I think that leads into what the second point was, which is maintain the current membership of the CRA board. So I believe that the county has an ordinance or some type of document where they're trying to add one person to the CRA. And I haven't read it exactly, but I've had many discussions about this because before we issued our bond for $60 million, so the 3rd Avenue just across the way, Island Pacific, before the plaza next to Lyric, before all these developments started coming up from this $60 million issuance, they wanted to add a county commissioner to the CRA board. And I presented some of the problems that it would create. So one of the problems that it creates, is just to let you know, is something called a sunshine violation. Sunshine is a law that was created through the Florida statutes that basically mandated that if you were 2 or more people from the same board at a meeting together, the public had to be noticed of them being there, and they couldn't discuss business that could potentially be voted for in the future, right? If you did that, it became a criminal offense, and there's some fines, et cetera, et cetera. It was all meant to basically preserve public integrity, right? To preserve the fact that there's no backroom dealing, if you will. So when you put the problem that it presented for us at that time was that the discussion was putting a county commissioner, particularly it would be the county commissioner who would be over this district, on the board. And what I presented was, what that did was it eliminated the ability for the district, the city district commissioner and the county district commissioner to meet and discuss how they're going to improve upon the district. Why? Because they will be discussing things that will be voted on at a CRA level. So what does that look like? It basically means that if I want to meet, say our current county commissioner is Commissioner Audrey Edmondson. And so if I wanted to meet with Commissioner Audrey Edmondson at a restaurant to talk about the future of Overtown, I can do that today. We can talk about synergizing efforts on the county level, on the city level, and what we can do within the CRA to make things work. Because we don't sit on the same board. But the moment that she's placed on the board with me, all those types of meetings about synergy will cease. There's no way that we can meet. The only way that we can learn about our projects and things of that nature would be through the public meetings. And so when you consider the fact that in other communities it just doesn't exist that way, you want the communication and the cooperation of your district and your county commissioners on everything. Our community has seen what has happened, but we did not have cooperation, right, Mr. Muhammad, from our city and our county leaders. And what it has done is left our community in the past. And so we don't want that moving forward. And so that's part of the reason I want to maintain it as it was. Now, the 50% reduction in the sharing of the 2009 Global TIF Agreement, point number 3. That's a beauty. Why it's a beauty is this. Back in 2009, when they had the Global TIF Agreement that was created, it was taking dollars. The deal was to take dollars that would have normally gone back into the redevelopment area and giving those dollars back to the county and back to the city. So they were sharing in some of the TIF money that was generated, but it was going to the general fund dollars of the county and the city. So think about this. When you think about deals like the Wilson deal, when we created this 56%, I think about 56% TIF sharing deal, the rest of that, the other side, which is 44%, just about 44% of the TIF generated goes back into the CRA. So we can take those dollars and rehab your property or your property, or give money for training and such. We can do that with those dollars. But what happened was, they created in 2009 a TIF sharing agreement on the highest TIF revenue projects, and they gave that dollars not back to the community, but back to the general fund dollars of the county and the city. And so the city and the county have more money. And so what I'm saying is that I don't like that deal. I don't like the fact that if there is TIF dollars that is generated from the highest TIF revenue producing projects, I want some of those dollars back for the CRA to use within our community. And so what I'm saying is that when the CRA ends its life in 2031, before the extension, say assuming we get the extension, we'll be able to capture more dollars under this scheme than we would have before without them giving us a reduction in the amount of money they'll be sharing with us. So that's kind of how, so this is where we are. And so like for instance, that part there, which you can understand, is going to amount to tens of millions of dollars, has not been decided upon. And so, equally so, the redevelopment of the housing developments within the CRA boundaries and such, and the Overtown Science. I think the Overtown Science is something we're going to be able to accomplish. It makes sense, right? People need to know where they are when you're in a historic community. You need to know where the historic properties are and how to get around. And when you think about what we're doing already within our area, with the GMCDB, which is the Greater Miami Convention Visitors Bureau, who is responsible for advertising or marketing the city of Miami and Miami-Dade County, Greater Miami-Dade County. And so they put in place marketing in different countries. And they market the historic Overtown area. So there are commercials that go out about historic Overtown. And so when you're bringing people into our area, and GMCDB has now a welcome center at the Lyric Theater, which means that it has been designated as a safe space for tourists. Tourists will get a pamphlet, like when you go to any other major city, New York, Atlanta, and they get a pamphlet that says, these are the places that you should visit. Overtown is actually one of those places. And the visitor center is designated as a space that you can go to gather more information about the city of Miami as a whole in Miami-Dade County. So we have those things in place. We just now need to start to put things in place to direct people around the community. Because this community, as far as how it looks, right, is changing. Right? The benefits of the people that are living here, those things are changing. And I'll say this now, I said it yesterday, and I'll say it in the future. If you rent in Overtown, buy. So if it's an apartment building, I don't care if it's 300 square feet, buy it. If you can, rent to own. I know it's difficult, especially for us who live in Overtown, because we have some of the lowest wages but we've been here for a long time, so there's some places where we can still make it happen. There's some places where we still own things in our family and we consider it itself. I'm just saying, it's just my recommendation. As a whole, when you start talking about things like gentrification and things of that nature, as a whole, it's a very hard thing to swallow, but it happens at an individual level. Because we decide to sell, we decide to sell, we decide to sell, we decide to sell. So that's how it happens at an individual level. It doesn't happen as a whole because we're all individual property owners. So if we own property in this community, like Rev does, we know we're not selling. We know we're redeveloping our properties and make better uses for the people that live within our community. Okay, so let's get to the meat and potatoes of who we were able to discuss things with. And that would be all of Florida and Tri-Rail. For all of Florida, our demands were as such. Responsible wages for all the workers who are building the Tri-Rail section of the platform. The Tri-Rail section of the platform is what we're being asked to fund. That's the part that's going to be public, and that's the part where the public entity is going to operate. We want a 99-unit community flex space at the ground level development for public and private programs. So that, I'm sorry, yes. So that part to me, community flex space is as, I'll describe it like this. This, for instance, could be a community flex space. You build it out in a way, though, that when you can section off the rooms, you can make smaller rooms, you can make a bigger room, you can make it a place where people in the community can go and visit. You can have, if you want a school, there are school projects. If you wanted to have urgent need or any of our community projects, go to that space and visit that area. You just use the space for free. That's what it's about. If you want to have something catered food, and just anything that you can think of, you want to have a family reunion, that's what that space is for. It's a flex space. Flex meaning that you can build it up and tear it down in different types of ways. That type of model is being used all over this nation and all over the world, as I would say, but particularly over the nation where you're seeing that community flex spaces are becoming important because it allows the integration of the community into a new development. So we know that this is on the Park West side of the tracks. We know that this is going to be a monumental building that, or construction project that Olive Ward is presenting. So we want our community to be able to feel a part of it. What better way to feel a part of it than actually be able to be at the ground level of their retail space, using it as a place for Mr. Muhammad or anyone to talk about these issues in our community. Free Wi-Fi, internet community, flex space for all the users, 25% DBE, SB participation for construction of the Tri-Rail platform for the small businesses and disadvantaged businesses. That's what that captures. It captures the business community. 40% local hiring for the construction of the Tri-Rail platform within the CRA boundaries in the highest poverty zip codes. You've seen the breakdown of the community redevelopment area, Overtown, it can be District 5, or our highest poverty rate district or zip codes within the city, and then also within the county. What we're trying to do, what my office has always been doing from the very beginning, is fighting poverty. So fighting poverty is including salaries, fighting poverty is doing all these other things, but make sure our people get jobs. So this is a way of concentrating the jobs towards the areas that have the highest rates of poverty. Continuous paid summer internships and opportunities for high school students residing within the CRA boundaries. That's another way that you fight poverty. You fight poverty and you give our students in our communities an opportunity to learn about industries that they're not normally privileged to. And so they get that real world experience. They get dollars in their pocket that they can actually use to buy school supplies, what they need for the rest of the school year. And this is something that I want them to commit to moving forward. Permanent signage advertising the Liberty Theater, the Black Police Museum, and other historic sites within the redevelopment area. And so what that means is that now, within the Olive Ward project, if they have digital media marketing, they'll advertise for the historic Liberty Theater. They'll advertise for the Black Police Museum. And that brings more people into the Overtown area, not the Park West area. And so that's the way that we try to bring the traffic throughout the community. We asked for 3 discounted lease spaces for tenants identified by the CRA. And so that was another attempt for us to get people who have businesses within the Overtown area into that new development, because maybe the rent is too high. Most likely the rent will probably be too high for new businesses to start. And so that was one of the things we asked for. Business opportunities for small businesses via kiosks. And so what that looks like, if you've been to our Caribbean Marketplace, you've seen these nice kiosks, or if you've been to Midtown, you've seen kiosks outside, which are basically stations where people can sell goods and wares and food and things of that nature. So we're asking for different kiosks to be placed so that if you have a small business, you can kind of get kick-started there by having a kiosk, and then maybe you can move it to a storefront, right, if you are successful in that way. And then 40% local hiring, enhanced living wages for all permanent jobs. And enhanced living wages was a term that I coined because, of course, the living wages is defined by statute. Enhanced living wages is the way that we've done in the past is $1 more than that wage or whatever it is. And as we move forward in the different negotiations, that may turn to $2. It may turn to $3. But whatever it is, it's the living wage and it's enhanced by $1.50. And then the 40% local hiring for residents within the CRA boundaries is the highest poverty zip codes. I'll start there with the response that I received back from you. We're on the same page right now, right?
What's going on?
Good. And what I'm throwing in this area, I put it a little further down, put it on the Tri-Rail, I believe. The decorative fencing along the railway with the highest arrest for trespassing offense. This was an issue that was brought up by a young man named Prince. I don't know, Prince, are you here? Yeah, he's here. Prince, not paying attention to him. Giving you your props. Okay. This young man, he recorded the police that actually policed the railway. What are they called?
Florida East Coast Railway Police.
There we are. And so what he found. One on my phone, there's nice in the black. Yeah. Can you check the restaurant to see, restaurant across where to see where my phone is? Will someone give it a call? So, don't want those pictures in their phones. Okay, so basically there was a major issue going on because at about 17th Street, what we found was that a large number of residents were being arrested crossing the railway. Now we know it's not legal, many of us know it's not legal to cross the railway. It is a trespass because it's not safe to cross railways at places where you cannot cross, you're not designated to cross. And there's really signs that say no trespass. I grew up in Liberty City, and near Scott Projects where I grew up, we had railroads, and we crossed those railways. Right? It was just something that you did. Everyone knows that's a part of what you did. And depending on what side you go on, you had to fight your way to get back to the other side. But that's neither here nor there. But here, back then, unlike back then, people are getting arrested today. And so there are hundreds of arrests that actually never go to trial. So it's just the act of the arrest, and then they actually take them down to the Dade County Jail, and eventually it gets dismissed, but it's a major inconvenience. And the arrest, remember this, arrests remain on your record, right? They will remain on your record. So it's important that you understand that you can be arrested 50 times. And I guarantee that the news station will say, he's been arrested 50 times. But they're not going to say that, exactly defend, but they're not going to say that they were dismissed, or what reason was dismissed. You have to do a little too much, you have to do a little too much digging to find it out. So I just want to say that just on that social issue, thank you for that. Because what we were able to do was we had them to agree to provide fencing, and this is just the fencing, this is actually an Army area, but there's a fencing that's required by the railway systems of a certain height, of a certain quality that they have to put up. And so they'll put fencing at that area so people will not cross that area. So if you don't want us to trespass, they make it so that people won't trespass. And that's what they'll do. They'll add that fencing. And what we're hoping for is partnership. I sit on the Army CR board. And what we're hoping for is a partnership with the Army CR board to beautify that area. So it just won't be a fence, but you'll have nice greenery to keep people, to make it look more beautiful. And to solve that problem about arrests going on. Yes, sir.
Chairman Hartman, what I thought as an idea was similar to what they do doing down the University line across the U.S. one. Putting that, go elevated and put that over there. Yeah, requesting the dry rail or and it says all the books are. As part of the trip agreement, you all should use front money, and when they come, because they won't come, that should be part of the agreement as a reimbursement to the CRA. Secondly, like the apologies decision, those arrested in all those cases dismissed, those people should be compensated as well. And likewise, those funds should be paid to the CRA, but again, those funds will be paid directly all over the floor, should come out all over the floor. $10, but it should be paid to the population of at the rest, because I even read the article on the video. But the Caucasian woman said she walked by her face. So we now racial profiling and the rest is not people who talk about that directly here in Overtown, in the CRA, in all the high poverty districts, and therefore when we talk to jobs, we got to look at not even having on those applications arrests, because that's what they say in arrest. No, we got to start using the proper language, because convictions, and then if we do convictions, we got to give it a limit, just 2 years, 3 years, because we can't.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And no, in the agreements that we've drafted, I think, like for instance, with the World Center and there's a couple other, we've included language that says, for instance, that you cannot deny someone employment if they have a non-violent felony arrest, something on that, right? So we're moving towards that. I know there's a movement called Ban the Box movement, but ban the boxes is important. But you have to understand it doesn't stop someone from spending $15 to do a background check. So the language regarding why they're not hiring you, if it's because of an arrest, is important. So we're making that movement. Right now, we're trying to solve the problem, right? And we're doing this on a timeline that I think is a little more difficult to establish, say, for instance, that crossover wall that the University of Miami has. And believe it or not, I was at the University of Miami during that time, a lot of the people didn't want it, especially the businesses that were there, because it was creating a blockage to where the business was. That's a whole other discussion. So I want to kind of move on to the other things that were brought up.
Question
Yes, ma'am.
about the jobs. I wanted to know, are we any closer in developing something like the hospitality?
Let me go through it because you kind of
okay.
jumping ahead. That's
Also,
where we are. Question. 1 second, please. Yes, ma'am.
whereby?
If I understand correctly, I feel it's either the city or the county asked for a walkway at 17th Street from All Aboard America, and All Aboard did not respond, or something like that, I try to understand. But the arrests that are happening, I mean, why, even if it's not an over, a bridge kind of a thing, having one at a low level, that's not a huge expense, it's a convenience, instead of people having to go a mile, having to go way out of their way to get to Publix. And the arrests are not happening anywhere else in the county, it's only in 17th Street.
Right.
The
We,
people are crossing.
but we have our reasons for knowing that. I mean, and I think the residents, and that's what Mr. Muhammad was saying, and I think that's what Prince stated earlier. I mean, we have our reasons for believing why the arrests are happening within the Overtown area, right?
But
So
instead of unifying it, how about having it be a reasonable, a practical walkway there?
right. I mean, I think, as I said, all those are great. All those are great suggestions. Currently, right now, there's a reason why it's no trespass zones. There are other places where you can cross, for instance, the tracks that are safe. So I'm not a engineer by any means. And so you have to think about the technical reasons that go into making that a crossing area. But for today, what I'm saying that many people think about buildings as permanent, but buildings are temporary. People that own land in this country have owned land for hundreds of years. And that's just what happens. They transfer property, which is land, on to the children and their grandchildren through corporations and such. And I say that to say that a fence is just as temporary, if not more, than a 85-story building. So we can't think about an 85-story building as something that's going to be there forever. It may be there for your lifetime, or it may not. It may be there for 20 years until someone pays them a better dollar and they build a bigger building. So, don't think about it as permanent. But today, to stop the arrest, to beautify the area, that's what the simple solution is today. But tomorrow, if we start to look into some of the ideas...
If it's not asked for, it's not going to happen.
Okay, I understand that. Okay, so where we are is that for today, to stop the arrest, to beautify the area, we want to add the fencing that is there. That's part of what they agreed to do. To add the fence to keep people from crossing the area that they don't want them to cross, that is a trespass zone, that is their property, that they have a right to put police there to keep people from going. So here we are, we're negotiating with their property rights. Now, in the future, if there's an opportunity to put some sort of bridge, I'm sure they have to have an architect or an engineer look into that. I am not that person. I'm not an architect, I'm not an engineer. I read legal documents, that's what I'm best at. And so what I'm saying to you is that we will look into that further to see if that's a possibility. It may not be a possibility at 17th Street. Possibly maybe at another street just south of it or just north of it. It may be better fit for what's coming along. I don't know. But this is where we are. This was a problem. This was not brought up by the community on that day. It was brought up by the president another day. We included within this to have some type of solution. And so let's start with the flex space. All the board agreed to give us a flex space at the ground floor level of their building. It will be, what they proposed to us was a 600 square foot flex space, probably located near the entrance to Overville 2, that's one of the buildings what it's called, to the Miami Central Station for community use. Now, they would like for the CRA to do the build out of inside the structure. So they'll give us the shell, and we have to put it in the walls and the floors and things of that nature. The lease term that they want to give us was a 10-year base lease with 4 one-year options renewable at the option of all of board floor. That's been presented to us. So a 14-year lease, right? To the end, basically, of 2031, which will cover the operating expenses proportional share of real estate taxes, insurance, and CAM, and provide all overflow with a nominal administrative fee. So they're saying, okay, we'll give you we'll rent you, or lease you a space for the community. You want to pay for it, and it's only going to be during the time of the benefit that we're receiving from the CRA. So obviously, we asked for 99 years. It wasn't something that was born out of this meeting, but it was a request that I had. I want it to be something that was akin to ownership, and to get that feel that the community really had a stake in that development. But like so, they own the development. They can choose the terms that they want, and here we are in our negotiations. So we're at 14 years today. Yes, sir. Yeah, I think 600 is a little small, but it's not necessarily, it's not incredibly small. Yeah, for people that live in much smaller units than that, it depends on what you're trying to use that space for.
And in terms of community events, like you have a social event, 600 is kind of small.
It depends. I mean, it depends on what you're trying to do. It depends on how many people you're trying to bring there. It all depends. Sometimes you want a space that is around 600 square feet. Sometimes you want a space that is 1,200 square feet. In my mother's home, which is my is around 1,100 square feet, and it was a lot bigger than the apartment I grew up in. So, yes, ma'am.
Commissioner, permit me to be candid, all right? Say, may I ask you if you do support the private equity?
Let me finish this first, and then we'll go through where we are, because we have to get there.
I just want you to understand the logistics of the speaker, whatever they are saying here. Is it documented or is it just verbally said? And these promises have been made a long time by Bush's demographics, and Obama demographics have been left down.
We are fulfilling promises in overtime. I think everyone sees that. We're fulfilling a lot of promises that have been made over time to our people, so we're going to move forward. All right. So the Wi-Fi and the flex space, that's a given. They'll give it to us. Now the DBE SV participation for the construction of the Tri-Road platform. Now their response was that I believe we asked for 25% of DBE SVA. And only of the Tri-Road platform. So I didn't want to infringe upon the rest of their project. They felt that it was more difficult to meet those goals with just the Tri-Road section. They felt that they could better meet those goals if they include the entirety of their project. If we include the entirety of their project, they wanted to decrease the percentage. Decrease the percentage, they went from 25% to 12%. It sounds like a decrease, but I believe, I don't have the numbers in front of me. James?
$22 million in total.
Is that what's the difference between what we asked for and what they asked for?
Well, it's an increase of $10 million in the actual amount of money that would be spent with SBE.
So basically, it's a percentage, but it is a numbers game as it was presented. So we reduce the number of percentage that's required from the total project, but it would increase the dollar amount that would be spent within those who participate in the SBE DBE program. The local hiring for construction on the Tri-Road platform within the CRA boundaries, they commit to hiring 40% of the unskilled laborers on the construction of that section, and they will draw those skilled laborers from the same type of scheme that we've set up in the past for the redevelopment area, Overtown, and I can't remember the exact word. I always get confused whether or not it is the district, highest poverty zip codes, but that same structure. If you've seen this language time and time. The continuous paid summer internships, they will establish a paid summer internship program, so our children in our community will have an opportunity to work for the summer through and get paid on these with their companies. The signage, they will incorporate information about historic resources within the CRA the same way that we asked for, and they will have it deployed throughout the Miami Central Station, especially within the kiosks. That's the digital advertising. The discounted lease space for the tenants within the CRA area, what they agreed to is that it's always interesting. So I have one document that says that they will provide one space, and I have another document that says they will provide at least one space, and that's a big difference. at least one makes a big difference. All right? So there's some things in these documents that are not particularly clear. I met with them yesterday. So, you know, this is a continual process. But they do not want to, they want to say market rate. The way they described it was market rate. And I said to them, well, I don't think that our community can pay market rate. That's why I asked for a discounted rate structure like we did with the Royal Center. And so the language that they're proposing is a percentage of sales. So you can rent in that space, you can be in that space, but a percentage of the dollars that you generate from whatever your purchase sale. I'm sorry, I said that incorrectly. I think I said incorrectly. The way it will be set up is that your rate will be determined upon how much sales volume you have. So, for instance, in the city of Miami, well, generally, it's thought to be good practice that if you have income, that the percentage of your income for rent should be about 30-something% as an individual, right? 30-something%. In Miami and many metropolitan cities, you have a big problem. You have about 50% of your income going towards where you live, and it's getting higher and higher. And that's why people need more wages. So basically it's saying that depending on their income, depending on that how much business that the business is generating, their rent will fluctuate. That's going to be a discussion that's going to be between that individual lease holder with All Aboard Florida. But I'm sure we'll get some input in there. But understand that the CRA won't be a partner in that. But what we're trying to do is use our resources to kind of guide us in that direction. They'll have business opportunities for small businesses. The way they thought about this is that through our hospitality initiatives that we do within the CRA, people will have an opportunity to compete, to be a part of, to have a food truck on the site. The food truck will be provided to that business owner. So if you prepare food, if you are the rib man, barbecue man, or whoever it may be, and you want to produce a product and sell on that site, you can end up having space via the food truck. And then if you do well from there, you can move into the facility. Those details haven't entirely been ironed out, but it's just a process of trying to influence people to go into the hospitality program, and then earning that business acumen, and then moving on to higher heights from there. Just trying to increase the connection between the Old Town area and the Park West area. And then they also said that they will have local hiring commitment for permanent employment opportunities for permanent people. All of Florida will hire redevelopment area residents and individuals living within the the eligible zip codes for 20% of the future permanent employment opportunities. So they're saying at least 20% will be from those areas. It says the commitment is limited to station operations owned or operated by All Aboard Florida, and should not apply to on-board operations of All Aboard Florida or portions of All Aboard Florida's transit-oriented development project beyond station improvements. A lot of language there. But for the permanent jobs that are not necessarily related to All Aboard members, they have a train system that's going to be moving. So not related to that train system moving back and forth. They're saying if you live within the area and you want to work at that site, because they have restaurants, they'll have shopping, things like that, that's how they'll try to commit to that number. Okay.
Question.
So that's what we are.
Stand up.
Let me get you through Tri-Rail.
Question.
Let me get through Tri-Rail, please.
Jesus, boy. We already did all this.
Okay, Tri-Rail. At the minimum, of course, they agreed to the free ridership for residents within the CR area that are deemed low income. So if you are receiving, for instance, food stamps or any type of assistance, you're going to be eligible to get free ridership. That's important. It's important because many times access to reliable transportation is a major issue, and people can't get where they need to be because they don't have reliable transportation. And so the ability to save thousands of dollars every year to ride a train from here to as far north as wherever the train goes in the west, it's a significant benefit to the residents who are suffering in poverty within our areas. So you'll have that. Immediate training provided for jobs throughout the extension of the rail line. So basically, what I've learned is that over this process, at that site, there are going to be about 3 jobs created for that platform. And those jobs are called station agents. And so those jobs pay from $13 to $22 an hour. So it kind of leads into one of my other requests, which was enhanced living wage. Specifically, that's a little more, it can be around what enhanced living wage is, but certainly the range is higher than the enhanced living wage. So what they're committed to is to prioritize those, to seriously prioritize those agents to be a part of the Overtown community. And the immediate training part, immediate can mean a lot of different things, but what that means is that before that station is built, we want those people trained and working for Tri-Rail. And so that training for them will start in the next fiscal year, so it will be about next year. I believe they said around June or July. So those jobs, when they start to advertise for them, will be able to be selected, and the people will be able to be moved on other stations until when this station is created, and then we move back to the Overtown station. So they create those, it only creates a few jobs, but those jobs we want for our community.
3 jobs?
It creates about 3 jobs, as was explained to you, yes. So that addresses point 3. The continuous paid summer internship, they also agreed to the summer internship program. So we'll be able to provide them jobs. And this is something that they're not used to, so they're looking for a lot of our support. So they agreed to that. Discount advertising opportunities for CRA businesses. They agreed to do that on the station, so it'll be commercial businesses, commercial businesses will be allowed to advertise because usually commercial businesses are a bit more safe in their language because you're not trying to offend people, right? You're trying to attract business to you. Because I say that to say because sometimes you have community organizations that may say something that's offensive to one group and not the other. And so businesses tend not to offend, they try not to at least offend different groups of people, but more so be beneficial for everyone. So the commercial advertising discount opportunities on the system, on the railway. So if you are iUrban TV and you want to advertise your services, you'll be able to have discount opportunities on that railway service. The in-kind advertising opportunities for Liberty Theater and Black Police Museum, they agreed to. The 25% DBE, SBE, they cannot do it because they're not the ones actually doing the construction, so that's shifted to Oliver, Florida. The fencing we discussed prior, and the enhanced living wages, as I discussed earlier, is it's included within those 3 jobs. So they'll make more than the enhanced living wages. So that's where we are today. I don't think we have necessarily a long way to go. There's some items that are sticking between us, Oliver, Florida, and Tri-Rail, well, really us and Oliver, Florida. And remember from the very beginning, I said to you all, I said, Oliver, Florida was always wants to say to us, look, this is not for us, it's for a public entity called Tri-Rail. This is not for us, it's for the community of Overtown. This is not for us, it's for Populous. This is not for us, it benefits downtown. So they've always taken that position. And I think they're going to continue taking that position. So they don't want to carry certain costs that they don't feel like they should have to carry. All right? But nonetheless, we're trying to do our best to negotiate with them to get some benefit for the community to come out of it. As I explained also before, the rail system was not something that just came by night. It didn't arrive yesterday. The idea of it didn't arrive yesterday. It's always been a part of the CRA plan. And so, when you know the CRA plan, and you know how I can operate in this office, what I'm trying to do is fulfill that CRA plan. So we get some things done in our community. So that's where we are on that front. And so what we're looking to do is continue the dialogue. And what I was hoping for is, and like for instance, we've already been told that maybe 600 square feet is too small. We know that maybe 14 years is too short. So some of these things we know that we need better responses for, and that's what this process is about, trying to get better responses. And also on the city level, we're trying to negotiate getting more funds from the city. The number, remember we talked about the number from their request was initially from the CRA is like $69 million. And then it dropped a few $1 million. Today, I told you my goal was about $17 million. And what we committed to, what we what we artistically committed to or agreed to, what we're comfortable, I think it's about $17.5 million. So we were able to achieve that. So why that's so important is because you went from $69 million to 17. So all those dollars that are generated that we did not commit to can be spent in the redevelopment area now. So just being diligent about having responsible spending habits saved us tens of millions of dollars. So we're on that timeline trying to make things happen. Just let me know.
After now, PPE and FPE.
So it's small business and it's disadvantaged businesses or enterprise. So it is language that comes from the county, and they carved out certain types of businesses that are typically minority, small businesses, and it gives them an opportunity to participate in major projects. So you have to be certified to be there, and that certification is good for people who have small businesses in our community because they can certify. Once they're certified, and this man is an expert at it, so I'm walking on pins these to talk about it, but once they're certified, they're able to get certain contracts and move forward. And it's just a way of being inclusive in business opportunities. Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Stand up.
My name is Latasha Daniel, and I serve as executive minister at St. John. And I stand today to represent Bishop Adams and most certainly a community coalition. And I want to say to you publicly, most certainly we've had our public opportunity, that we applaud you first in you making a concerted effort to move forward on this. As a coalition and most certainly as a church and as a voice of Bishop Adams, many of the things that you have brought to our forefront today were issues that we presented to you, were serious concerns. I believe the heart of the matter for us is we want to see the follow-through. We want to see the reality of this. Most certainly we'd like to see more out of it. But I stand to let you know, we applaud you and we thank you for what you've done.
Thank you very much. Yes, sir. Could you speak to, I'm not sure if you probably talked about it or not, but could you speak to, can you say your name, please? Oh, my name is Keon Williams. You email me? Yeah. I read my emails.
Exactly. My question was in regards to, and maybe you talked about this already, but the 40% local hiring, I'm not sure if there's a process in place. Could you speak to that? Because I'm not sure everybody's aware of what process in place to ensure that 40% hiring from the local.
Right, so that was one of the things that I discussed with them yesterday. They said, the first, they agreed to a number, and I said to them, well, how are you going to monitor it? We look at each other.
Right.
And then they said, they have a company, have you heard of the name of the company?
Valley. What the Washington Valley? Valley called, headed by Washington Reform, head of Circle One. It's Circle One. So this Valley is headed by Marshall Jackman, who was the former director of Miami-Dade County's Office of Disadvantaged Black company.
So she's supposed to do the monitoring of it. I think they hired her because she's monitoring their project, so it's about putting the information in front. We're always concerned about monitoring. In the Wilson deal, for instance, we were able to select, CRA was able to select an organization to actually do the monitoring and Wilson pay for it. So, you know, they're different deals though. I mean, that's a far cry from what this deal is. So it just, we're making these different types of changes. Give me 1 minute. All right, and they always show me this very bad news. He said he can actually say that they want to close the building. They want me to say it. So I'm going to still answer a few more questions. Yes, sir. I'll get you.
Several things. Number one, instead of talking about enhanced wages and these wages and zip codes, why don't you lead the fight for $15 across the board as a minimum wage in the city of Miami? You raise a wage of $15 like Los Angeles just did, and like what Seattle did, and like other cities around the country are doing. That takes care of these minimum wage situations, because this is the third largest inequality city in the country. $15 an hour minimum wage is a floor that would cover not only these jobs, but other jobs across the city. And that's number one.
Let me address your first recommendation.
Yeah.
I think it's a beautiful recommendation. One of the things that was not being discussed in the city of Miami on a city level was wages. All of the, if you look at any of the bond deals that are being built right now, none of them discuss wages. All of those wages were $8.05 an hour if you're working construction or whatever it may be. It wasn't until I stepped into office that wages became a serious issue. Why? Because I wanted to fight poverty. To fight poverty, one of the ways you do it is to increase people's wages. You want to give them the ability to spend more dollars. And so that's why having a responsible wage, for instance, on the Wilson bill was important. That's why coining the enhanced living wages was important. That's why having enhanced living wages and responsible wages on the same document on some bill is greatly important. And that's why even in this bill, we're talking about those wages. And moreover, it's why in the city of Miami, I led the fight and was successful in creating responsible wages for all projects that are above $250,000 within the city of Miami. There are people who are not union that felt that that would never happen within the city of Miami. We could never get a responsible wage ordinance to be passed here. It's been in the county for decades, but not here. We did it. We were successful. It will impact the people who live here. And immediately when we did it, at the state level, they started to fight. At the state level, they invested dollars into ensuring that it would reverse the passage of that act that we did here in the city of Miami. And is Matthew Land here?
Yes.
Matthew was there, he saw the fight firsthand, so he knows what happened at the state level. So what we want to do, we want to continue that and move it into the CRA level. $15, the fight for 15, I think is important to me. I believe that, I grew up, and my minimum wage, I was earning probably around $4 something cents. So I mean, I used to work at Chuck E. Cheese. I worked at Chuck E. Cheese. I worked at what do you call it? Arby's. I've done all these jobs that pay minimum wage. So I know what it is to work for those jobs. And so I'm committed to work. I hadn't heard about a city minimum wage. I've never heard legally of that. I've always thought about it as a state issue. But even as a state issue, when they had to fight for 15 at the church, I was there and I gave my support for it live on the radio, saying that we need $15 minimum wage or more. I mean, whatever we can get. Really, I love that.
Commissioner, I hate to cut you off. I hate this. I'm not in charge of this. The building's requirement is that we leave at 6:30. At 6:30. They have let me finish. I'll let you finish. The building is owned by the county. They close at 6:30, and I don't have any control.
Part of it is this. I will say this. When we have these meetings, we're trying to give people an opportunity to get here after work, but then also to be in a place that is within our community. It's a little bit different. I would say that. But these discussions, one second, these discussions do not have to go on for a very long time to get things done. All right. The next, I'm going to give you an opportunity to ask me one question, and then if you want to talk to me, I'll be outside, right here. So feel free. Are you awake? Okay. So if you want to have a continuous dialogue, if you want to continue, let me out. Let me see.
1 hour to have a meeting.
First, you got 2 suggestions.
40 years.
Two suggestions. I want the group to hear this. First of all, Long Sherman Hall says the next time we have a meeting, you can feel free to come there. That helps. But number 2, all of the people who are present, who like the commissioner, who are fighting for this idea of $15 an hour minimum wage, do not make it a fight with the Commissioner Alderman, because he's the one that created the responsible wage for the city of Miami. We have 4 other city commissioners, and I want the same kind of vigilance. I want the people knocking on the doors of Suarez, Arroyo, Gort, and Sarnoff. Do not make this a fight that he has to fight alone.
You only need 2 votes.
No one made me fight for responsible wages, but I think it was the right thing to do. So we'll move on. I'll step outside to continue to talk with anybody who wants to talk. Okay?